Hello, this is my YouTube channel Made in Bluebell Wood. I'm Sarah and today I'm going to give you a tutorial of crafts that you can do using jars. We all recycle these, don't we, or we throw them away, and I hate to throw them away. I have to admit, if I've got something I know I can get another use out of, I will try my best to think of something that I can do with it. So today's going to be all about jars, and I'm going to actually give you 3 different ideas of things you can make with your jars. Now these are going to be really lovely crafts that are fun to do, and at the end of it you end up with something really beautiful that you can either keep for yourself or give away. So I'm going to use for project number 1 a little baby food jar. So this is why I've been keeping all of my baby food jars. Mum, who was trying to get me to throw them away for ages, ta-da, I have a use for them now. So what I'm going to show you how to make is this lovely little baby jar pincushion, and it doubles as storage as well, which is brilliant. I don't know about any of you, but I live in quite a small house. I have 3 children and 2 of them are very little, and I'm a crafter, and I might be a little bit of a hoarder as well. I think that comes with crafting pretty much though, doesn't it? So any extra storage that I can get, I need to grab with both hands, and if it looks pretty at the same time, then that's a win-win for me, because I love beautiful things. So that was the first design I came up with, and I just used some funky fabric that I had and some lovely pom-pom trim to edge it. Now the middle one, I was a bit crafty here, excuse the pun. I actually used the fabric from my youngest daughter's, one of her first baby grows, because I just thought it was so pretty. And I mean, you can put them in a memory box, can't you? But I'm going to have that around me forever now, so I really like that. And then to trim it, I had this really funky elastic that I found a long time ago, which is leopard print, which I love. So I just edged it with that. And then I added this lovely little fairy button, which I bought from Hobbycraft a long time ago. And it wasn't that cheap, it was in a little set. But I thought, I'm going to get those, because I couldn't not get those. And I thought, I'm going to save them for a really special project. And this project seemed to be that special project. So that's my second one. My third one was just some gingham fabric that I had hanging around, and just a little bit of a lace, which you can buy really cheaply. And then as my little embellishment on the front, I just added a really cheap little daisy flower sequin with a button in the middle. So really simple, but they look really pretty. And the idea really is to encourage you to look around your home and see what you've got that you can use already. I mean, the chances are you've already got jars, you know, or you're going to have a jar soon after you've made tonight's dinner. So put it to the side, you know, get yourself a little box, start saving things. For example, you're going to need some trim for this. So, I mean, I've got a nice little selection here of little bits of lace and ribbon and stuff, but you don't have to. It's nice to buy, you know, some pretty ribbon if you see it, or trim, but you don't have to buy all the time. You can deconstruct your daughter's old baby grow like I have here, because you'll find little pretty embellishments on them, little trims and things that you can use. So have a think about that, because I think it's important to upcycle and recycle, especially today, how the world is with so much waste. So, you know, do your bit and, you know, make a craft using stuff that you have around the house already. It makes it even more satisfying, I think, when you can say, I made this number one, and guess what? Guess where I got that fabric from? That was from my baby's old baby grow, you know. So anyway, what do you need? You obviously need your jar. For any of these projects I'm going to show you, you can use a jar of any size, but this is what I've used. So you will need your jar of choice. That's number one. Then you're going to need a piece of card. You're going to need a pen and some scissors so paper scissors. You're going to need a little pair of scissors for your thread. You're going to need thread. You're also going to need a needle, a little piece of fabric, some glue. You can use either super glue or you can use a hot glue gun. I'm using my trusty hot glue gun. You'll need some stuffing as well. Now, you can buy stuffing from places like Hobbycraft or, you know, another sort of craft shop. Or you can, if you want to do it on the cheap, just use the stuffing from an old cushion that you've got, or buy a new cushion from like Poundland or something. So that's always handy to have in your craft stash. So yeah, a little bit of stuffing. And then, as I say, you'll need some kind of trim for at the end, just to cover the raw edge. So, first things first, I need a sip of tea. This is my first tutorial, as you can probably tell. I hope it all makes sense, and please be gentle with me. Okay, so first things first is take your lid off of your jar. Make sure your jar's all nice and clean. It's had the sniff test. Yeah, it's nice and clean. That's fine. So what I've done is I've traced around the lid, and so the lid was face down like that, and I've cut out a piece of card. And there are two different finishes you can go for here, okay? Now, method one is to start folding over your fabric, pop some glue in there, and then pop your stuffing in that space, and keep folding and keep adding glue and keep stuffing your stuffing in there, okay? And just keep going until it's all encased and it's nice and squishy. Doing it that way will give you this kind of hexagonal sort of finish where you've got your points, which is absolutely fine. I actually think it's very nice. So if you don't sew, that's an option for you. If you would like to sew, then the second way to do it is just to do a very simple running stitch, tack stitch all around the edge, and then you'll sort of pull the thread, gather it all up, stuff your stuffing under there, and like so you'll have your squishy piece to then stick with glue on top of your jar. So now it's time to add our trim to cover up that raw edge. So I'm going to use this ribbon that I found because it's nice and clashy, and I like things that clash. So I'm going to work out roughly how much I need and sort of leave a bit of an overlap. So about there. And then using my glue gun very carefully. Be careful not to burn yourself like I did the other day. It just won't heal. I'm going to pop the glue on. Okay, I've actually run out of glue sticks. That's not good. Please bear with me. Okay, I'm back. You can tell this is my first video, and now the scissors are stuck to the glue gun. I apologise, people. So, let's get back to the job in hand, which is popping some glue onto the jar, and very carefully, if you're using hot glue, attaching the ribbon. Just take your time, whether you're using hot glue or super glue, and just follow it all around. Sometimes when you put a new glue stick in, it takes a little while, doesn't it, for it to work its way down, so you can really get a good grip on it when you squeeze the trigger. So I'm going to keep going on like this and try not to get my glue gun stuck to any other random things I happen to have on my table. I've really measured this way too long, haven't I? Look how much excess I've got there. Oh, okay, so just trim that nice and neatly, as neatly as you can. Last bit of glue, like so. Okay, so that's just covered that nicely. Now there's a little bit of a gap there, so what I'm going to do is just pop a bit of glue in there and just sort of squish it down for a few seconds so that it holds. And then once that glue's dried, if it bothers you, you can just pick that out. But there we go. So that's looking really nice. And then what you can do is just choose your little embellishment to go on there. And do you know what? I might make a little bow out of this spare piece of ribbon I've got here. So I've already got my needle threaded. I'm just literally going to go through a couple of times here. Excuse me. And then just pull the thread round nice and tight to make a little bow shape. Just make a bit of a knot at the back. Just to secure it. Then I'm going to cut my thread and cut any other thread there just to neaten it all up. And then the best side can be the front side. I'm just going to trim that little bit of ribbon, the little tail, like that I think. And then I'm going to stick that on the front. So the good old glue gun again. And give it a good press. And there you go. Another really sweet little pin cushion / storage jar. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope it hasn't been too bad and that maybe I've inspired you to have a go.